All right, let's bring in our political panel. Senior writer at The Federalist, Benjamin Weingarten, along with Democratic strategist Lee Neves. Good afternoon to you both. Ben, we'll start with you. So Michelle Obama is not going to be at President Trump's inauguration. What do you make of this?
I mean, it's not really the classy move that one would expect. The Democrats talk to us a lot about peaceful transfer of power, respecting other opinions and such. She kind of it's kind of incumbent upon her to show up. So a weird snub there, and also kind of odd to some extent when you contrast the seeming chumminess between her husband and President-elect Trump during the Carter funeral versus her not showing up there. It's suspicious.
But Ben, you know, Trump wasn't at Biden's inauguration, as I recall, correct?
Yeah, but of course, you know, the acrimony between them is different, I think, than the Obamas, who are, you know, we're now multiple terms separated. So I just find it's just somewhat surprising to me, especially when there has been something of a quote unquote vibe shift, and Democrats, if only for their own self-preservation, are going to at least try and act like they want to engage in some form of bipartisanship going forward, especially with the Obamas really being the power in the Democrat Party.
Lee, I know we've talked to you before about Pete Hegseth and his appointment to the Secretary of Defense, and you were a little down on him, especially with the drinking. I was wondering if you watched today's hearings and what your thoughts were.
I did, and look, I still have concerns. My dog also has concerns, but no, you could see him start to moderate his positions. You could see him come in and say, yes, it's okay for gays to serve in the military. It's okay for women to serve in combat roles, because he knows that those were going to be problems for him, especially with the more moderate Republican senators. They're going to have to. He's going to need their votes to become Secretary of Defense. I think his background is still a problem. I think the accusations against him are still a problem. And yes, I think the drinking is a problem. I've mentioned it on here before, but you're looking at someone who's approaching 4 years of sobriety. It's not the easiest thing on the planet. And for him to simply say, well, I'm just, you know, give me this job and I'll just give up drinking. I wish it were that easy. I really do. But it's not that easy. And I think that's a concern. And for that to be enough of a concern for him to say, I will give up drinking if I get this job, obviously it's a problem. I think he realizes it's a problem, but just saying it will go away won't make it go away. It's a concern. And look, I of all people will be rooting for him to reach sobriety. It's a great thing, but it's really, really hard. And I think it was just a throwaway line. At least that's what it seems like. It was just a throwaway line to get people off his back and try to get secure the nomination.
Lee, let me ask you this. There are a lot of conservatives, especially, that argue that there's been too much focus on politics and DEI and the military, and that Pete Hegseth would be a good person to recruit people, to get people in the Army and focus on strength once again. Do you agree with that analysis? Do you think there needs to be a change in approach at the military to get it kind of back to? Yeah, go ahead.
You're talking to a Democrat who wants a very strong American military, because much like Teddy Roosevelt said many, many moons ago, speak softly and carry a big stick. And that has been the American military throughout our history. World War I, we came in, saved the day. World War II, we came in and saved the day. America has been the bulwark of democracy, and we've been able to do that because of our military. And our military needs to be the strongest in the world, especially with threats from China, from Russia. We need someone as Secretary of Defense, who understands what it is to run an organization like that and do it effectively. And Pete Hegseth really hasn't. He may have a lot of great ideas, but he hasn't shown in the past that he is able to work within such an unwieldy large organization. That's what you really need. And your secretary of whatever department, they need to be able to effectively run a large organization. And a lot of the things in his past, people are kind of looking at it and saying, is he up to the job? And look, this nomination, these hearings, it's going to weed all that out. There's going to be stuff that comes out. There's going to be questions asked, questions answered. And if he's able to answer them correctly and quell the problems people have with him, then he'll be the next Secretary of Defense. If he can't, then he won't.
Okay.
Ben, I'm going to switch the script for a second and ask you what you think Joe Biden's exit strategy is precisely. He's done some interviews. He did one with Susan Page at USA Today saying that he thought he could beat Trump if he stayed in the race. He also did an interview saying that he thought that Kamala Harris could beat Donald Trump. We know that didn't happen. He gave a farewell address at the State Department yesterday, going over his foreign policy accomplishments, or what he views as his foreign policy accomplishments. We're told there might be an Oval Office address this week. What is the outgoing president's strategy the last week in August, and how do you make it make sense?
Well, I think in terms of the optics, he is trying to craft his own narrative, write his own story to try and really compensate for the fact that I think his 4 years are going to be viewed as an unmitigated disaster. And I think that the American people rendered that judgment pretty decisively. So he's going to try to rewrite his own legacy here. But then substantively, Ben, I will say that the policies seem pretty radical on the way out.
Ben, I hate to do this, cut you off. We have some breaking news we needed to go to. Benjamin, Lee, thank you, gentlemen, both of you.